All right, today we're going to show a futures trade that I took, my second trade of the year. You guys know I'm pretty well known for selling options, but I love trading futures. I'll also explain why I've kind of got away from prop firms, even though I love trading futures so much, and a little bit of the strategy and how I just diversify between this and selling options. First, I'll get the prop firm thing out of the way, why I do not trade prop firms. There's really actually one major reason that I do not trade prop firms. I've begun trading on a much longer time frame. I find that I am a much better swing trader than I am a scalper. Now I know that there's people online. As a YouTuber, I wanted to be that guy that streams and does all these like scalps and wins all these prop firm challenges. Guys, I got to say this year I've taken 2 swing trades, both profitable, but I have blown up probably 3 or 4 futures prop firm even funded accounts. So it doesn't work for me. The ability that they do not let you hold overnight and swing trade is my downfall when it comes to prop firms. If there's any prop firms watching, please just let me hold overnight so I can enter this strategy on a bigger time frame. Then I will be a futures trader. The other thing that I want to talk about is I like to trade like commodities. So I like to trade gold and platinum. Those are pretty much the 2 that I'm looking at. I found that with the ES and the NQ, just too much volatility for my skill level. Also, it gets varied on economic news so much that when I trade just the basic commodities, they tend to just be a little bit more respectful of the trends, which is the strategy that I like to trade. And I just, like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you are starting to trade, guys, this is, as a YouTuber, I'm telling you the mistake I made was trying to follow what other YouTubers were doing. And you just gotta do what works for you, regardless of how like sexy and flashy it is. I would love to make daily videos about how much I'm making every single day, but that just isn't the truth. So I'm gonna dive right down into my computer. I will show you this as well as the full trade breakdown on TradeZella. So I do all my charting on TradingView and I trade on the platform Tradeovate. If you are curious what futures platform I am trading on, yes, my screen looks like a meme with all the lightsabers everywhere, and I understand that, and I understand the criticism that comes with it, but I'm making money, so I don't really care. This trend here, I'm actually going to get rid of this now that I can talk about it, but this was a break of trend. This was the first trade I took of the year, but right here is going to be the second trade that we took. We pretty much traded inside this consolidation. Now, this is platinum, guys. We pretty much traded up and down for pretty much the entire year, but we had a nice little downtrend forming. We saw a little bit of support here. It broke through there. We had some consolidation. Let me just zoom in here a little bit. So here's that consolidation way back in early April, and then we pretty much flushed straight down. But over that time, it has began making a nice uptrend. I am a trend line trader. That's just what I've become, and I really, really like it. We had multiple touches over the course of the entire month, and I knew, and I said, and I will show you the Discord, we broke down through this trend right here, and then I entered long. Now, my initial stop loss is now going to be below that trend. So when I entered here, and I'll show you the exact time I entered, my stop was way down here. And then by design, my stop, every single hour candle, my stop moves and follows this trend line to hopefully eventually become even. Or if another strong trend starts to form, I will use that as an even tighter stop to keep my risk down on the trade, which is exactly what I did here. So entering here, I followed this trend up until we have a break of the trend, and I ended up exiting here. Let me show you exactly what I told the Discord. People ask like what I show in the Discord. Let me show you exactly this entire process leading into this trade, what I told the Discord. So here, this was back on April 9th, guys. I showed that just consolidation, that channel that we were trading in. Then we flushed through and I said we got a nice bear flag that I'm going to be watching, or we're going to see if there's a trend. So still on the 9th, we were watching this trend come up, and I said, here's a flag that I will take with a break of that green trend, especially with 927 acting as such good resistance. This red area, which had acted as resistance, would be my stop. Now on the 10th, I said it did exactly what we wanted it to do. I wanted it to chop into that wedge so that our stops would be tighter. I could either go to the downside and have a stop be this dotted line, or I could trade to the upside where the green would be my stop. And then on the 11th at 8 o'clock in the morning, I entered, I gave my stops. The new trend will form, stop is moved. And you can see I kept moving my stop. The stop is now moved to 933. So that lowered my risk. Like I said, following that trend. And then I just continued to update them throughout the trade until it closed. Here's what the trade looks like inside TradeZilla, guys. I have to say I've been super impressed with this platform. I'm kind of kicking myself. I waited so long before investing in it. Just things like this, having the trade and it importing the charts and just, it's just really, really nice. So we can see this was a $3,314 trade. I took 5 contracts. You can see the entry right here above that. I did take one off because I had to take profit at 952 right at the bottom of this consolidation. And then I took a runner until it ended up breaking trend right here. So we can see the plan R multiple and the realize R multiple. That all changes for me because I'm a little different moving my stop loss, but that's like the initial risk that I was willing to take, 1800. The target was 2950. Very, very happy with this trade, guys. We can see if we open this up, pretty much zero drawdown. There was a little bit of drawdown early in the beginning, but this is zoomed out. Another great feature that I like TradeZilla shows. I could also take some notes, leave some different things I learned, which I will go back in. And then if we see that the bulk trades for the year, back in January, I took a one-day swing for $6,000, and this was a $3,000 trade. Set me up nice for a $9,300 year on 2 trades so far. That just seems what's working for me. If you guys have any questions about futures, just leave them down in the comments below. I'll be back with my option selling content later on in the week. Have a good one, guys.